What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I am a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. We got a big one this week. It is kind of a malefic week. The malefics are up in, they're involved up in your grill all week. So two main things are going on this week. We got Mars in Leo, now moving forward again in a yang sign, ready to do the Mars things. This Mars in Leo is going to make an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius, and at the same time, the Sun, who rules Leo, is going to come in and make a T-square to both of them. So the Sun is in Taurus, is going to make a square to Pluto in Aquarius, at the same time as making a square to Mars in Leo. So that is going to take this Mars opposite Pluto, which looks like it wants to be super intense, it wants to be super deep diving and aggressive, offensive. It wants to, it is not concerned about where the norms and the boundaries typically are. It's much more concerned about kill them until they die from it. You know, like there's a kind of pointed and deeply aggressive move here with this Mars in Leo. So, at the geopolitical level, that looks like probably escalating trade wars and this kind of thing, right? So I still don't think that this is going to be super kinetic, at least in my area of the world. And, to see the Sun here in Taurus. So the Sun in Taurus is going to have to do, I like the Sun in Taurus. Happy birthday to my Taurus people, by the way. Shout out to you. Shout out to you for being here. Appreciate you. But so as the Sun does pretty well in Taurus. The Sun is, likes a fixed sign, and the Sun and Venus get along pretty well. And so the Sun, the thing about Taurus is that Taurus cares a lot about value and wealth and this kind of thing. And so trade is likely to come up through this thing. And also, if we're thinking about trade and trade wars, we can think about commerce as being associated, the Mers in commerce is the same as the Merc in Mercury. So Mercury is the one who has to do with the trade and exchanges and transactions, all the trans stuff in between here and there, transportation, translation, all that sort of stuff is going to be associated with Mercury. So that's our trade bit. And then war is going to be typically associated with Mars, right? Well, where is Mercury right now? In Aries, the sign of Mars, the warrior, right? And so we can definitely see some kind of escalation in trade war stuff going on. But on the personal level, then I would expect big intensity. I would expect a blitzkrieg and whatever it is that you do. So if you're in some kind of business space, then I would expect, deep competition. The competitors are likely to come for your ass this week. And so it's probably a good week to, I don't know, is it preemptive strike week? Do you try to kill your competitors this week instead of getting killed yourself? Possible. That's a strong opportunity here. The thing is that it's not likely to look good. You don't make friends under this kind of sky. Speaking of making friends, we should probably talk about Venus in Pisces conjunct Saturn, because that's happening all week. But before we get to that, I gotta let you know that you can get a reading where I will break this down in easy clarity. It's going to be very easy for you to understand and affordable to get into. If you go to zambonifunk.com, then there's a 10-minute reading there. It's $30. It's super affordable. It is in depth, and you stand to gain a lot of information from that. So, and it's never only 10 minutes. I always hook it up because I appreciate y'all. Y'all been showing out for me a long time, so I appreciate you. You can also show support by donating via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Super appreciate all that. Appreciate you. Music, zambonifunk.com. There's a whole bunch of cool shit at zambonifunk.com that I always forget to mention. Please go check that out. So, let's get back to it. So, Venus and Saturn. So, I like Venus in Pisces. I like Venus even on the North Node. The North Node typically is confusing, confounding in some kind of way. It's a point of darkness, right? It's one of the eclipse points. And so most folks don't like the nodes very much, but Venus and the North Node can get along, especially in this position in Pisces, right? Because Pisces is the place of Venus's greatest delight, Venus's exaltation. Things feel delicious and marvelous and just so soft and wonderful there in Pisces, right? Like very rich flavor that is perfectly balanced and all of that kind of thing, right? So the North Node is, I sometimes treat the North Node like it's a more button. It just like increases whatever it touches, and recklessly. That's part of the reason why most folks don't like the North Node. Like even if you're doing right, yeah, so it does more, but not necessarily better. More and better are not the same thing. And so the North Node tends to get a little bit, it goes overboard with it. So, but going overboard with exalted Venusian pleasure can be fun, right? Like that's something that you might elect for or something like this. The thing about this is that we've got Saturn right there all week. This is Venus-Saturn week in a very big way. They are within a degree all week. They just hang out all week. And so all three of those folks, the Venus, North Node, and Saturn, are just hanging out. So when we're looking at this Venusian pleasure, then we're also going to have to Saturn it. So we're looking at delayed gratification in some kind of way, which is not typically how Venus in Pisces likes to operate, especially with that North Node there as well. So this looks like a time where it requires a lot of deep investment in the relationship for it to turn out nicely. And it doesn't necessarily feel like the pleasure or the benefit of doing all of that difficult work shows up this week. It's not that it doesn't show up at all. Saturn is just late to the party most of the time. Saturn is associated with delays and obstacles and challenges, limitations, boundaries, bullshit that is in your way. That's big Saturn energy, right? And so there's bullshit in the way of getting the most delightful pleasure. However, where Venus and Saturn agree, where they can come together, which is what Venus really wants to do, is over this sense of like, if I meet my obligations, if I do the thing that I agreed to, or if we can come to some kind of formalized agreement, Venus and Saturn love a contract together or something like this, right? Then we can make something. Like the whole point of trade, for example, right, is that we both get richer, right? I have something you don't have, you have something that I don't have, and if I give you my thing and you give me your thing, then both of us end up richer at the end of that, right? Because we came to an agreement about what would be valuable to you and what would be valuable to me, and it's better for me to not have this thing weighing me down because now you have it and I have some shit that I would prefer to have anyway, right? So that is what we can see here with Venus and Saturn working together. They are working closely together. So, now is not the time to try to just be easy and eat things that are sweet and delicious and expect no consequences from that, right? Saturn is associated with consequences. We're doing consequences this week. We're doing delayed gratification this week. So that, especially alongside that Mars-Pluto, right? So Mars-Pluto is going to be super aggressive in there, ready to, not taking prisoners, taking hostages, and killing them sometimes, like going super hard, going way too hard with it. That's what Mars and Pluto is about, right? And so that is not likely to make you a lot of friends, but there is a question about like who's gonna ride for me when times get super tough and this kind of thing, right? So I wonder if there might be some bonding experiences that can take place along this route that is kind of dangerous. There's a lot going on this week that is aggressive and dangerous, and so I would definitely, this is not the week where it feels good. This is the week where you go really hard and the gratification, the pleasure is delayed. So don't worry about that this week. Stay on your grind, stay on your hustle, and get in there. And Mars does best when you are shooting at a target, when you have an aim, when you've got a goal you are trying to accomplish. So this week, accomplish that goal and feel good about it later. I appreciate y'all. Check y'all next.